there's stones on one side of it.
Yeah, right.
Then they're on this side, but on this one they're only on one side.
Okay.
Isn't that pretty cool, $12?
Absolutely. Very nice.
363.
363. Okay. Where's that at?
There's one at Higley and Brown, north of that, or south of the Bashes there. And then there's one at Guilford and Southern, a little bit south of there, on the west side. And it's a good thrift store. I got this for $12. And then the bracelet over here.
Oh, comes with them.
You use it as brass knuckles?
Huh?
You use it as brass knuckles?
Yeah, only around you though.
Okay. And I usually deserve it.
Well, we've never gotten along in all the years we've known each other, you know.
I don't get along with anybody now, so. Don't you look at me like that.
You're so full of it.
No, I'm not.
We do get along, I'm just kidding.
We do get along better. We never had a problem.
Those are usually the best friendships that go along.
We have to, I
Joking,
can take on
right?
everybody.
Joking.
I'm older, so I can take on all of you, you can't do anything about it, you know.
You would sit back and
My daughter's almost same age. My daughter's 57.
Yeah, well,
Shane's a little bit older, but
yep. They grow up fast and we grow up fast.
yeah.
For sure. My baby is turning 25 on Saturday.
yeah, this weekend, man.
Saturday,
My
25.
granddaughter is 30 and my great-granddaughter's 11. And I'm not that old. I don't know how it happened.
How did you see that? Must be quantum physics or something. Must be quantum physics or something that we don't understand.
Probably. But I feel good for my age. So many people my age are really a bunch of older, you know, so I feel good.
Even people my age. I mean,
Huh?
even people my age. I don't know too many people who aren't on all kinds of meds and
I know.
it's really wild. Yeah.
I take one pill for thyroid.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed in that aspect.
Oh, the air feels so good, doesn't it? Oh my God.
Yeah, we gotta get cooler too
Heavenly.
tonight.
Oh.
Someday I will ask my age, but I doubt it. It's not fun.
Those are good. I'm sort of, oh, thank you, that's my dessert. That's good. I'm addicted to the,
Oh, thank you.
if I ever have like a few working brain cells, which I usually don't, I'll bring you the ones that I get from Trader Joe's. I think they're called Cafe Rio.
Like coffee flavor to it.
Yeah, so yeah. I don't eat sweets at all, but I do like the sweet.
These are not real sweet, so I like them, but they come in packs about like so,
Yeah, they're really good.
and I like them. They're called Nix, N-I-T-S. They're good.
Very good.
Walgreens have them, and that's usually what I do.
I never I could never eat ice cream, cake, cookies. I could go months without touching that stuff, but I always have some candy.
I'm a big fan of Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of anything from Trader Joe's.
I know it's really, really good. One of my favorite addictions over there are those, they have them like in a weird place. And some of their stuff is not like intuitive where it's placed, right? So they have some know why that's ringing, I have my, this is turned off, so do not disturb, I don't know why that would ring. They are so delicious, they're over, like, the crackers are like over the throat.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know
They
what
are
you mean.
just, I'm telling you, if you buy them, you will just not be able to stop. They're so delicious. And they're rice, they're not like gluten or anything like that. They're really, really nice. Excellent. My favorite
What are they called?
they're called, it's just, they're like they're tamari rice crackers. Tamari. So, I don't know what the brand is, it might be Trader Joe's brand.
That's all right.
But if you don't see them, you ask them,
Okay.
and they'll know exactly, they'll know exactly. They're $2.99 a bag, and they're already frozen, oh my god, they're like, just a little rice cracker, but they're
Did
glazed.
you go up this weekend?
Go on.
You got the basement?
No. Oh, for the retreat.
Yes.
Cancel.
Oh,
Brutally hot down here, I'm sure it wasn't that much better up there.
well, the other one has natural stone too.
Heat.
I think we have a green one.
Uh-huh.
We have a green one.
Because that's about what they had at that time, and now they have many more different.
I like rose quartz.
That's why I
I carry one of the big ones in my purse.
Killer meat. Was it because of the tanks? Or was it because the tank wasn't? Yeah, combination of sorts. Of course.
If you can't remember the address on the board, it's about 363.
Oh, yeah, I
In the
got
phone
it.
book.
Right, I got it.
It's in his plan.
I know that Southern Gilbert area.
Yeah.
The other one at Ocean and Brown is newer.
Okay.
So, but they're both good. These two are really good.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays,
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
a certain color dollar.
Okay, I'll be certain tag or something
I
like that.
like Tuesday.
I'll do it in the morning.
I appreciate it.
It's just the temperature thing. What, up there?
Air conditioning broke?
Yeah, well, we fixed
What
it.
you did last year, though?
Beautiful. Oh my god.
I mean, this one that just passed. Yeah, so I've been with you, like, probably just before Memorial Day, after the, after 2 years ago, after that New Year's, I probably came here like
Or
March,
like 90 at the bunch.
you know? So, well, that'll be cool.
Last time.
New Year's, yeah, I can do that.
Hopefully I'll
Shout
be
out to Will,
Yeah.
with it at night, because it's just unbearable when they don't go shut.
Real cool. I'll be happy.
It was really bad. I can't do
We had some summer, didn't we? What was that?
We did that.
You know you're in zone when you walk outside and you're driving, I'm driving, I'm like, I look down at the temperature, I'm like, man, it's only 90 degrees, roll the window down,
I look like a cold away.
feeling free, yeah.
You don't want to leave the door open?
I got the air conditioning on now.
Oh, you just don't want
Nice,
that.
yeah.
You get the jackpot, sir. So the next step has
Again,
well,
she's like, an awesome. I mean,
no, I mean,
she
there's
can
a
I
calico.
mean,
That box is gonna be gone before you know
I
it.
saw it.
I mean, you should be like an NFL quarterback or something, I mean,
I
that's
took a picture of the box. It's like,
Mark.
oh my God, you guys were like,
you can't play
so it's a little calico.
The real abuse
We
would
were
be
walking
cutting off the trees.
What she doesn't know is that I like it. So, I don't know how she's gonna deal with it when she really gets
Little young kitty cat.
I heard it's still working on it.
It like bothers me for days.
Did you use it?
Oh, yeah,
when I have
oh,
to get
yeah,
exposed to this stuff. So I posted on Nextdoor
nice, yes.
on that same thread and
Yes,
nobody,
it's a,
one person
yeah, it's
responded.
amazing
to it.
little,
I wish somebody
gadget,
would
man, it's
do
great.
it.
Is there a picture on there?
You know.
Is
If
what?
it ever
Picture?
separates, put it there.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking they should make them bigger. Like
I
this
know,
big.
but some of them they do, but
Well,
not
they
much.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, about maybe 6 or 9, you can just,
Yeah, I don't
get like a
think
stick and you can just
Storage, like, I get affected for days usually.
get on the ground, you,
Yeah. Oh, that kid who.
Oh, no,
that
really
frac-
loosen
that
up,
thing-
you know,
that
like a-
fraction thing that really
like a
did.
deep
I
massage.
still got people
you
on
know?
Nextdoor a week later asking me questions.
Yeah.
You're there online?
Let me
Are
see.
you the invisible man? What the hell?
Well, not right now,
You're there.
because I.
Yeah, I mean, even now, they're like, did this kitty get adopted? I'm like, I won't even address it because I'm gonna get all the haters on there next about, how the cat, because I didn't want to take financial responsibility for it. I'm not gonna be out $1,300 for a feral cat. I just can't do that, And so that I don't really have a right to know where it went.
It has some,
I got it off the street, we got a trap off its foot, we got.
This is
got
matching
veterinary
set?
care, and I don't know from there. But maybe one of the people.
One more
on the
thing.
side and they start like turning on you, Oh, take it to a no cage. This is a very feral cat. What are you gonna do with a cat like that? Just set a cage until
it's
healthy.
a,
Is this like copper?
I
Okay.
don't know, but it's guaranteed for 10 years.
I'm the weird cat lady, it's a dildo, that's for sure.
From the day they made it or from the time you bought it?
From the time you buy them.
Really?
But I got it in the thrift store, so somebody else had bought it one time.
Sure.
But it had
Okay.
never
Are
been
you still
used.
missing from yours?
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's
It's
strange.
like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Maybe you've reached enlightenment,
But I figured,
invisibility.
what the heck?
Good,
Emptiness.
should be so lucky.
Total emptiness, yeah.
That's called a back, I forget what they call that, that's a back. Not a back turn, no, not a back turn, that's a karate one. So like most people punch like this, but that's a back.
You gotta think of the positives. You've
No,
reached
no, really,
total
I mean, that's
emptiness.
good protection, you just
Right?
smack the guy.
Okay. Well, we'll get going here.
Class.
Do you want to turn the light off in there?
No, no, thank you.
Teaching her how to beat me up.
Wednesday night meditation. We have a few people online. My apparatus, as my brother calls it, isn't working very well. How many people are online? There's a
We have 6 and then a couple
Oh,
have
okay.
reached out. We've got John Gustafson says greetings, Michael Caputo,
John.
hello all, and
Michael,
Ryan Caputo, and then Ryan B, happy Wednesday.
Ryan. Hello, guys. John's here. Amongst others, I don't want to give too many names. Some people are alias here, I think.
Yeah, gonna make it mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want people waiting outside when they leave, that kind of thing. So,
Definitely don't mention my name.
the theme tonight, I decided to talk about attachment a little bit. In Buddhism, attachment is a huge, huge thing, and it's the reason for all suffering, And a lot of people they often wonder how true that is, based on the Buddhist teachings. The Buddha said, from the teachings of the Four Noble Truths, that we suffer, and that can be different degrees of suffering. That could be a little bit of stress to full-blown not wanting to live. So there's lots of degrees of suffering, called dukkha in the Pali language. And dukkha is really like more of a stress. It's related more to stress than anything else. Dukkha is translated as an annoyance rather than like pain or the agony of life. And I mean in a severe depression kind of thing. So the Buddha said that we do have this suffering. And to take it a step further, he said that the suffering is not only related to this lifetime, but all lifetimes, past lives and future lives. And his plan was to not have these rebirths. He was born a Hindu, and basically all Eastern traditions back when in the Buddha's day were based on being reborn or rebirth. Interesting. And most of the people were Hindu at that time. And then there was some lots of shamanistic traditions and religions and that kind of thing. But particularly in Asia, the ruling, 2,600 years ago, the religion of the time was Hinduism. And Hinduism is very, very old. It's some of the early recordings are more than 5,000 years old. So it's been around. It's by far the oldest religion, documented, recorded religion that there is. And the Hindu religion is very much a part of being reborn or rebirth, that kind of thing. And the Buddha was no exception. He believed that, his family believed that, he was born into that. And so whether we believe it or not, it is kind of the backbone, one of the principal parts of Buddhism. But the neat thing is, a person doesn't have to believe in rebirth to be a Buddhist, or to be like a Buddhist type of meditator. It's just one of those things. And actually, from a personal standpoint, I had a hard time with rebirth when I first, I guess you could say, became a Buddhist. I took the vows, to go to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, as far as renouncing and basically paying homage to the teachings and to the Buddha himself. At that point, when a person does that, they want to become a Buddhist. And when I wanted to become a Buddhist, I realized that one of the beliefs was a belief in past lives and future lives. And so it took me a while to really grasp onto that, but when I did, it helped. It changed a lot of things, including the idea of future lives and what is in store for us after we die. And so the Buddha said that we suffer not only in this lifetime, probably in the past life and in future lives, and his idea was to stop that perpetual rebirth. So his question was, how is that done? And to stop being reborn again is stop the intention or the desire for the attachment to things that causes rebirth. So it's very, very subtle. When we die, if we die with the feeling that something isn't complete, that we haven't finished something, or that there's more, we will be reborn again. It's just that simple. That intention is that strong, and when we die, everything becomes very, very subtle. If we can imagine that, like if we have the intention to be born in a certain land, a certain area, a certain land, or a certain place, and have a mother and father of a particular way, we'll just say, there is a very good chance that will happen based on our past experiences and our intention at the time. So it's very, very subtle, and including the rebirth in general, the entire rebirth. So when we become when we become enlightened, we become an arhat, that means that there is no longer that karma, and no longer that intention that is created for another rebirth from us. There's no reason to come back because there's no karma created. There's no karma to basically take care of. There's no karma that goes from one lifetime to the next, because an arhat, somebody that is fully enlightened, doesn't have that that complexity of the mind where that karma is able to follow from one life to the next. It's just not there. So right now, as sentient beings, we have karma that we're working with. Some of us have more karma than different types of karma, or more karma or less karma, but it's there. And basically, when we're on a spiritual journey, our job is to understand that, first of all. That's the second of the Four Noble, or the first of the Four Noble Truths, the skillful understanding. And to understand that we can eliminate this karma. It's not necessarily important that we work at and trying to eliminate all of our karma right now, but it's more important that we don't create the new karma. So that when we do die, there isn't that tendency for that karma to create the next life. And so it's said that we don't go on to the next life, this body or this mind, but just the karma. The karma is enough to create that next life. And so that's kind of the spiritual aspect of Buddhism, almost the religious aspect in a way, because that's a belief that is very much a part of the Buddhist tradition. Like I said before, though, you don't have to have that belief in order to be spiritual, or to be a Buddhist, or to be a meditator in the Vipassana tradition, for example. So the Buddha said we suffer because of our desires or our attachments. He said that there is a way out of that suffering, and that is through the practice of the Eightfold Path. And actually, we're here practicing it right now. We're doing probably different, or we're probably working at skillful understanding, which is the very first of the Eightfold Path, and skillful mindfulness when we do our meditation, skillful concentration as well, and as well as skillful effort. The effort of meditation. It is an effort to get here and to do the practice. So we're doing a huge chunk of the Eightfold Path, just right now by being here. I'm practicing skillful speech as best I can, skillful action, and skillful thought or skillful thinking is a big part of it too. And that is, when we get done meditating, we will be doing a little bit of a loving kindness, and that's actually a part of skillful thought, along with skillful compassion. And the big one is letting go, which is skillful thinking. Now, if that doesn't sound all too complex, the reason I say that letting go is one of the big ones is because that's the direct opposite of attachment, is the letting go. And so when we go back to this life, and us going from this life to the next life, in the area of our attachments, these attachments are our karma. The way to eliminate this karma is to let go of our attachments. But we have to let go of it in a very healthy way, because most of these things cannot just be let go of, because they'll come right back at us. And we've all experienced that. We let go of things when we're not ready to let go of them. it's like dropping that fancy handkerchief with our initials embroidered on the corner. You know, sure, I can let go of that, but then, you know, we come back and we pick it up and go, yeah, that was pretty, you know, I can't let that go. So we have to have, you know, we really have to have the acceptance of the fact that that it should be ready to let go. The timing has to be right. We have to accept the fact that we are going to go through life without any of these attachments before we can even attempt to let them go. And so attachment is karma, big part of karma, if not the entire, you know, thing. The way we can let go of this karma is to let go, period. And we have to accept the fact that we are ready to do it. I've met a few people that, you know, are interested in meditation. They're interested in a spiritual path. They're interested in renouncing certain aspects of their life. In other words, being able to let go of certain things in their life, such as things that aren't healthy, you know, maybe addictions or you know, too many pleasurable things like food or, you know, relationships of some sort, that kind of thing. But they weren't really quite accepting of the fact that they are ready to make that change in life. And the change was that I was asking them to do was quite simple, which was a daily practice in meditation. And if a person is ready to make a change in their life, they should be ready to not only break the old habits, but doing that by incorporating a new habit. And that new habit is, you know, a very wholesome practice of meditation. It's very easy and it's very simple, and it's a little time-consuming, but not too bad, really. If you know, it's funny, you ask somebody to meditate for 15 or 20 minutes a day, and usually, you know, if you explain it that it's just 15 or 20 minutes a day, yeah, I can do that. But then pretty soon, for a lot of people, all of a sudden the day's done and they realize they haven't meditated. They're getting ready for bed and they go, I haven't meditated today. And then they go, well, I'll do it tomorrow, you know. And the old saying, tomorrow never comes, in a way, that's true. But it's, if we say that again and again, I'll do it tomorrow, and that's sometimes what happens when we ask ourselves to do something, you know, on a consistent basis, like meditation. And so how does meditation help us learn to let go? How does it help us to first accept and then to let go of these attachments? Again, we have to realize what we're letting go of, and it is the things that are sticky in our life. And first, we have to recognize those things. What is causing? What is so sticky that is causing us problems in life? First of all, we have to look at what we consider a problem or a difficulty for us. And when we look at that from the deepest and sometimes very subtle standpoint, we can see that it is related to an attachment that we have. We're unable to let go of something. It could be a person, a place, or a thing. And more so, it's probably an idea that causes a feeling inside of us. And so probably the hardest thing to let go of for all of us is a feeling, some particular feeling that we have. And oftentimes it's the feeling of control, that we want to be in control. And ultimately, if we can let go of that attachment, then the rest of them kind of fall to the wayside very easily. And so I'm not going to assume that we all have the attachment of control, but I will ask all of us to take a look at that tonight. Do we want control of something or somebody or ourselves? Control is a feeling that we have. And a lot of times if we lose something, any kind of loss, there's a feeling of loss of control. And again, that's a feeling. We have to take a look at it and see it as a feeling. If we're afraid to lose something, we're afraid to lose control in some way, generally. And it could be even the control of the stability of how we feel when we're complete. You know? And what I mean by that is when we are at that point where everything is just the way it should be, you know, when life is good, when life is really good, there's complete acceptance happening at that moment for us. And we know that, we just have to take a look at it. So acceptance is like everything being okay, but for most of us it's only short, it's a short period of time when we're very happy and everything is fine. We're in acceptance, and anything that comes up, we can, at that point, we can usually let go of. But that's not necessarily a permanent way of letting go. It's like we have to examine that acceptance again and again and again when it's there, and then the letting go becomes natural for us. And again, this evening we'll take a look at letting go of feelings, particularly the feeling of control. Any questions there?
No, somebody else just jumped on, Yvonne.
Okay. Okay. So, any questions from anybody about any of that? It can be kind of a little bit abstract, especially the way I just described it, because it's all related. The idea of letting go of what? Letting go of attachments. Attachments are related to karma. And I could even take that a step further. My belief is that most of our karma is subconscious. We don't even know it's there. And that's a Freudian thing, so I'm going to slip some Sigmund Freud in there. But we want to let go of those things that are sticky, these attachments, and this is our karma. And in order to become fully enlightened, I mean, we can wake up in the moment. We can wake up now. We might have had moments of awakening today, actually. But to become fully enlightened in our haunt, we have to have the ability to completely let go of everything. And that doesn't mean that we're going to be throwing our car down the street or get rid of this or get rid of that. It means that we are able to let go in the moment if need be, without having it harm us in any way, without being affected by it. And that means without having a negative feeling come up. And because we are going to have to do that at some point, when this is all over, this lifetime is all over at the end, we will have to be prepared to let go of everything. And the sooner we do that, that's why they say you can become reborn in the moment. And the only way to become reborn in the moment is to be able to renounce or surrender, in other words, let go of everything in the moment.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In your counseling and training of people, do you find that parents, particularly women,
They're
have a
the
harder time?
worst.
Well, of course, with everything, but I mean, I just, like, there's nothing really material or anything else that would be a crisis for me if it went out of my life, but about my sons. I will never be enlightened in this lifetime because I mean, that's just a thing for me. Those are my babies,
Yeah.
and part of me. And I don't know if you find that in your experience in talking to people that they that people who are, especially mothers or a single mother, have more of a difficulty with that. I can't even conceive
Well,
of that.
everybody does. That's why we're all here. You know, they say that when we look at rebirths and you know, when the reason we come back, and then we come back into soul groups. You've probably heard the term soul groups. Like, you've experienced, you know, you feel like you're experiencing this life with your children now, but they were a part of your past life. You were a part of at least one of their past lives, if not all of their past lives. So you've traveled through all these lives together. And that's why you have that connection with them, and it's still happening. Yeah, because if you know, if you feel when you die that you don't want to leave them, then you'll be reborn, and they, you know, the whole thing will happen again.
As much as I know that and understand that, that's impossible for me. It's like a conundrum. It's like a Rubik's Cube. I can't, you know, that's my kids. Like anything else in my life is what it is, but
That's why there's so many lessons in life. Like, you know, why does something happen to somebody? Why is there an accident? Somebody, you're going down the road and somebody runs a stop sign and they run into you and kill you. Let's just get to the point. They kill you. And that person driving that car, perhaps they were a part of a past life. You never ran into them in this life, but they were actually doing you a huge favor by allowing you to move on from this life before the next attachment happened. I'm just creating a scenario. But the Buddha, for example, when he left his father's kingdom, you know, we all hear about that, left his father's wonderful kingdom, but it doesn't come up very much that he left his wife and his son. Like, he took off, he boogied at night, you know, he took off, you know. And but he did that for a teaching for us, to point out that, you know, you have to be able to let go of all of this in order for it to happen. And when he died, you know, the rest of the story of the Buddha is the teachings, that his legacy that he left behind. But when he died at the end, he told all of the monks around him, he said, find your own salvation. He said, you know, work on yourself. Don't, you know, and what he meant by was, you know, figure all this out and lose those attachments and lose these things that you're hanging on to. He's telling him he said, I found the builder of this house, you know, how his body and his mind were created. And he said, the rafters are broken, and he wanted the other monks that were there with him to find their own salvation. You know, work at what you're doing and get out of here, you know, without that rebirth. I think it's easy to have a rebirth. We've all done it many, many times. Yeah, I had that conversation with people in the COVID-19 epidemic, and the people that are having the most fear of it are the mothers, you know, because of their children. And they panic, and you know, they're fearful that they're not going to be here for their children, and they're also fearful for their children, you know, from catching the disease. And the people that I've talked to about that, the most fearful are the mothers. And, you know, one particular woman that I don't remember her being fearful of anything until she had a child, and then this COVID-19 thing came up. Now she has fear, you know. And it's attachment, yeah.
Maybe my next life, when I don't have children, I'll enlighten.
Yep.
Not this one.
Well, we'll see. You have some time left. You know, don't count out anything, you know.
Boys.
If your boys become enlightened, they'll say, "Mom, don't become attached to us." And they'll say, "Mom, we're leaving. Don't come looking for us. Don't be attached. We'll take care of you if you need something, but just watch for your own and work at your own salvation. And if your boys aren't enlightened, maybe they'll say that anyway. So let's do some meditation. I will guide us through some of this, and then we'll have some silence. There were no questions online, and my phone isn't.
Along these lines of children and parents, and I mean, we have relationships, with our children, hopefully our entire lives. So I'm not really understanding what that means in terms of being attached. From child to parent, parent to child. I mean, I have a 31-year-old son. Well, this year 31. So he's an adult, but we have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That attachment is going to in this help me here. So that's enough attachment so that there could be any enlightenment there.
No, enlightenment is the opposite of attachment.
Correct.
So, but you can still have a son or a relationship. Let's just say a
Okay.
relationship without
Okay.
being attached
Okay.
to it. Yeah, if
I mean, I guess just by
you know,
definition.
we're having, this is all a relationship right here.
Correct.
But when, and I don't mean this in a bad way, when we're done here and you walk out the door, I'm not gonna have this pulling and this stickiness involved. And basically, I look at attachment, like some kind of a stickiness that we feel when we don't have it, we don't feel complete anymore.
So like worry or concern or expectations of
But all
others?
of that would be
Yeah.
part of it,
Okay.
yeah, or it could be a part of it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, we can have relationships. We can own things without being attached to it, and
Right.
we've all experienced that. Yeah. Attachment is like almost like somebody being addicted to something, and then when they don't have that, they don't feel right, and that's all they can think about, to get that back into their lives so that they feel normal again. And that's how many attachments are for us. Yeah. And that's those things that we have to spot and be able to let go. I'll talk a little bit about that as we meditate here. Okay. So please make yourself comfortable. Just close the eyes if you like and bring your attention to the breath. Just use the breath to calm you. There were a lot of words said and a lot of things thought about before this moment. Just let all that set aside. And I'm not even asking you to examine your attachments or what might be an attachment, or if there's anything that you should be letting go of in the moment. Just let all that be set aside as well. The ability to let go is very likened to the ability to walk away from something without residue without any measurement of suffering because we're walking away from something. And this is not only material things or relational things, but also thoughts and ideas, feelings, emotions of all types. And in many ways, one of the biggest attachments we have is that the feeling of control. But what is this feeling of control for many people other than feeling peaceful, feeling complete, and having peace of mind in the moment? Because when we have peace of mind, we actually feel like we are in control of the situation, don't we? In other words, we're in control to such an extent that we are accepting everything in the moment. And when a situation happens or something comes up and we don't feel that peace of mind anymore, we can feel agitated or feel as if there's a lack of control. And so we want that feeling back. That feeling that we can control the situation. We can control this moment in time when we are peaceful, when everything is exactly the way it should be to provide that peacefulness for us. And so if we examine the situation, we find that we actually feel as if things in the outer world are causing our unrest. That things outside of us are causing us to be unpeaceful or out of control. Where we no longer have that control. But when we're in a state of peacefulness, and we understand from that state that our peacefulness comes from within, that we feel complete because we feel complete inside, regardless of what is happening outside of our world, outside of us. And then we realize that we do have control almost under all circumstances. Because when we feel complete and have peace of mind and feel happy inside, nothing on the outside can change that. When that is a true factor, when it's a fact in our lives that we have this peacefulness within. And that's generally found within the present moment. But we can have this peacefulness even while we're thinking of the future, planning, And we can have this inner peacefulness when we're thinking about the past, things that have happened. But it comes from a special mind, and a mind that realizes that there is this presence that is happening all of the time. Because in that presence, there is nothing to get attached to. Because there's nothing more that can provide peacefulness than what is happening at the moment. So it's not other people, other places, or things that provide our lack of happiness and peacefulness, or the abundance of happiness or peacefulness. It all comes from within, in that realization of that fact. And so this inner world peacefulness is a type of feeling that the Buddha recommended that we discover and dwell in. And that's why he suggested that we meditate, to find that and to nourish it, to cultivate it. We can only become attached to things that we feel will take us out of some kind of a control that we have. And that is the control of being complete. We feel an item, an object, a material object will make us happy. Maybe living in a different place, a different environment, different temperature will make us happy. Being someplace different, the lack of feeling stuck in one area will make us happy. Or maybe a different relationship, other people, being around different kinds of people, sharing with other people. Being in love with the right person, or being loved by the right person. And so these can cause negative reactions, negative feelings, when they are sometimes present, but when they are wanted and they're not present for us, it can be seen as an attachment, that feeling. And so we feel out of control because we can't have them. And so these are the things that we should identify as attachments. And again, paying very special attention to that inner peace that doesn't rely on objects or people or places. That peacefulness and happiness that is there all the time. And as mentioned, it's almost always found within the present moment. This is the training ground. And the way we explore this presence, this present moment, is by focusing on an object, generally. And that object for many of us is the breath. We become present. We get a taste of this inner peacefulness and this happiness. It comes from within. And then we notice when we're not in that, and why or what the attachment is that's causing it, that disruption in this happiness, this true happiness. And we can usually spot it as a person or a place or a thing or a feeling. And quite possibly in the area of control and being in control. Okay, let's put our palms together in front of our heart if we like. May each one of us and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to us. May no difficulties come to us. May we all meet with spiritual and worldly success. May we have the patience, the courage, and the understanding to meet and overcome any problems or any difficulties that we might face in life. Thank you. I apologize, we ran over at 8 o'clock a little bit on that meditation. Usually we stop right at 8 o'clock. And I got kind of windy. In other words, I said a lot of words, so we kind of ran over in the short introduction that I usually do. And but I wanted to get a nice, at least a half-hour meditation, and that's what we did, I think.
But your words are good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
As long as they're understood, that's the main thing. So the idea of attachment is not necessarily, we can't be attached, according to the Buddha anyway, we cannot be attached with the inner joy that we have, that real stuff. And he said that we should cultivate that. We should, that inner peace, that inner joy that we have, which is generally described as the product of meditation, that we should cultivate that and have it and use it and carry around with us, whenever we can, and increase it, and that is the real happiness. But the happiness that we have that relies on outer things, outer people, outer places, and outer objects, that is the kind of happiness that is based on, or can be based on attachment. And so if we think that something out there is providing happiness for us, we will be hurt by it eventually. Either sometime, within this lifetime, or at the end when we die, we have to give it up. Like the love for a mother has for their child, And but in a case like that, if we were in meditation and we thought of the peacefulness that we have within that relationship, not just that relationship for that child, not the child itself being a part of your life, but how it feels within, that happiness that is within from having that experience, then that is the inner happiness, the inner feeling that the Buddha talked about that we should be cultivating. And we usually find that all that peace and that happiness within is the same whether we are, no matter what we're doing, if it's genuine, if it's real. And and that can't be taken away. I mean, we can give away all of our possessions and let go of everything. We still have that happiness within. But the fake happiness, that attachment that we have from things, if we would give something away, we think, I should have not have given that away, and then there's a little bit of an attachment there. So what this means is that we can have things, we can have homes and meditation cushions and cars and and places, and have these kinds of things that we enjoy. But if we do it from the standpoint of having an attachment to them, that's when we will get hurt. That's the suffering that the Buddha was talking about. And in meditation, we can kind of experiment with that. We can see and ask ourselves, if this happiness that we have from time to time, or from always, or whatever it is, what is it based on? So we sit in meditation, we focus on the breath, or whatever our meditation object might be. I think for most of us, it probably is the breath. And then we become very present. And in that presence, usually the mind doesn't think about the past or the future, and that's when we are indication that we are present, and that happiness comes up, that joy comes up for us. And it can mistakenly seem like it's the same joy and happiness that comes up when we're thinking about that ice cream cone we're going to have when we're done here, or something like that, But that's where the awareness comes in, to see what is sparking that happiness, that fulfillment, and what I call that feeling of being complete. So, is it real or is it false? Is it based on something out there? Is it based on what's inside of us? And it's really based on the feelings. We want to look at our feelings and see if they're real or not. Based on the information I just said. Are they something that can be taken away from us, or is it something that is permanent, or something that's fleeting? In a way, that's why we buy, we have things like insurance. We have this peace of mind. I want peace of mind. So I want to be able to lose things and still have that peace of mind. So I'm going to buy some insurance. I'm going to put insurance on my car. If it gets smashed up, I still have that peace of mind because I can still get another car. It's usually still painful. And that's true with our house and we have life insurance. I want that peace of mind that I have now, that my loved ones will be taken care of when I die. So I want to maintain that peace of mind, so I'm going to buy life insurance. And then we have that policy and we feel better. But then we have to pay for it, and then we don't feel good about that. But once we pay for it, well, it's for my loved ones, or it's so that somebody isn't burdened with the the funeral expenses or something like that. And so this insurance is really a false cover-up for losing something in the material world that is going to cause an unhappiness for us. This attachment that we have, it's like an insurance on an attachment policy. It's an insurance policy on an attachment. And it's very humorous, to look at it that way. But we're kind of trying to cover all grounds so that we don't lose the little peace of mind that we have. But I think a lot of that, we can discover a lot of this in meditation. When we sleep at night, the time that we go to sleep, and the time that we wake up. And the reason I take a look at that a lot in my own self is because it's kind of the twilight hours when we go from this conscious mind, this conscious thinking mind, to the subconscious, where the subconscious is almost likened to the dream state. Like what is there? Is there anything there that is disturbing us? So when we drift off to sleep, we can kind of really get an idea of where the mind goes if we pay attention to that. Where does the mind go for us to find this peace right before we fall asleep? And is it real? A lot of times it's just fantasy, but a lot of times not. A lot of times we can just find that we're meditating ourselves to sleep, from just finding this inner joy within us and going to sleep that way. Sometimes